Hello, this is Todd Luck, and this is a video on me completing Roy Thomas's original Conan run. I thought I would do a series of videos just kind of celebrating some of the runs that I've completed recently, and this way I can kind of show things that I really have enjoyed reading over the years and also offer people some kind of advice on like, hey, I like this, you might like this too. Just like, kind of a best of comics that you can buy, at a back issue bins or on Comixology or wherever they're available at. So, Roy Thomas Conan. So, just my history with Conan is basically, I was introduced to him in the 90s cartoon, and it was actually a pretty good cartoon, especially that second season was really epic. I actually recommend watching it. And so, when I decided to look for Conan in the back issues, this one kind of stuck out because I saw the name Thothamon, and the villain on the cartoon is a warlord slash wizard in Stygia named Rathamon, so I knew Thothamon was, his equivalent in the comics and the novels. So I got this issue, and it was actually a really appropriate issue to start with, because ironically, this is Robert E. Howard's first Conan story that was ever published. So basically he would submit a bunch of stories, and whatever would get picked up is what got published. And so the stories were published all out of order. They were a series of mainly short stories, and this was of Conan as a king. And so his other short stories would, go throughout all different parts of Conan's life. He'd be doing all kinds of different things, being a pirate, a mercenary, all this stuff. But this was a really good adaptation by Roy Thomas, and it's an annual, and it was a really good way to start. And so, intrigued by that comic, I decided to try Conan Classics, which reprinted the original Barry Windsor Smith, Roy Thomas Conan issues. And there's 13 issues of this, I believe, and, I really liked it. And so I started hitting those back issues pretty hard. And so eventually I got just about all of it between back issues and 2 trade paperbacks from Dark Horse. They've actually reprinted the whole run in trade paperback. You can still get those on Amazon or through other various sellers online. And then, the 13 issues of Conan Classics. I pretty much got the entire run but 4 issues. And how long is this run, you may ask? 115 issues. I'll repeat that, 115 issues. Roy Thomas loves Conan. And this is just his run on Conan the Barbarian. He also did Conan the King, or King Conan. He did a bunch of stuff in Savage Sword. He did annuals. He did graphic novels. He's done miniseries. He actually came back and did another run for several years on Conan the Barbarian in the final years of Marvel publishing that series. And he even came back and did some Conan stuff at Dark Horse. He's done Conan, I believe it's called Road of Kings, or Kings, I believe it's Road of Kings, but that's actually pretty good too. So he's done a lot. So this isn't like I'm saying I have all of Roy Thomas Conan, because that's a lot. But this is 115 issues. And what makes these so special is that these are the early Conan issues. And there's just something about the energy of this series. I mean, first of all, most of the issues are really good. You got Barry Windsor Smith art, followed by John Buscema art, fantastic looking. And Roy Thomas's, writing is typically spot on. But there's also something about the way the series began with saying like, hey, this is a character who's going to be king. We're going to show you him coming out of Samaria and his early adventures, and you're going to get to follow along and see how this character gains experience and how he grows and the things he learns, and eventually he will become king. Now, I don't know if it was ever a realistic expectation that there would be one Conan comic published that eventually would cover his entire life through him being crowned king. I don't know if that was ever a realistic expectation, but that's how it felt. And it was really, really cool. And the Robert E. Howard adaptations they did that guided the series were just really great. And so let me show you the final 4 issues. And these are just random issues I don't have, but they're still really good. So let me just show you them. So here we have adaptation of Rogues in the House. This is Barry Windsor Smith art. And so I didn't even know I was missing this until recently, so I'm really glad I figured that out, and I've gotten this issue now. I have no context for what this story is. I've never even read a synopsis for it, so looking forward to seeing, you know what this story is like. Another story that I was missing was The Frost Giant's Daughter. I've read other adaptations of this, but this is by Barry Windsor Smith and Roy Thomas, so really looking forward to this. Frost Giant's Daughter, one of the classic Robert E. Howard stories. And so those are 2 out of the 4, and those are Barry Windsor Smith issues. The rest are John Buscema, who did a fantastic job with the rest of the series. And so this is a story that is actually a multi-part story that adapts a novel called Kothar and the Conjurer's Curse. And that novel is a novel of a barbarian that's kind of like Conan. So what Roy Thomas would do is he would adapt stories like that in Conan, just putting Conan, in their place and setting it in his world. And they really work sometimes, and this is one of them. And the author of the Kothar novels is no other than Gardner Fox, who originally created and wrote the old Justice League issues. So that's pretty cool. I never knew, like, the guy who created Justice League also, like, wrote Barbarian novels. So that's really cool. And then the final issue that I was missing is this one. And this is the issue, I believe this is the issue before they start the story where he meets Belit. And so I'm really curious what's in here. I have no idea, but I'm looking forward to it. I love this creature on the cover. I mean, this looks just so cool. So I'm really looking forward to just seeing, what this issue is like. It doesn't look like it adapts anything, but sometimes those are like the coolest issues where Roy Thomas is just like makes up something, So Roy Thomas isn't the only person who can write it. You just have a better chance of getting something really good out of Roy Thomas. But there's a lot of other people who've done him well over the years as well. And when you pick up stuff that's not Roy Thomas, it's always kind of an adventure. You don't know. Some of these magazines behind me I've really loved, and some of them are like, just kind of same old, same old. And so there's kind of an adventure, when you're picking up the rest of it. But I don't want you to have the impression that Roy Thomas is the only person who can do Conan. For instance, I recently got this issue, and I only got this because Earl Norton did the cover, and I love trying to collect his covers. I really love his paintings. And this issue, blew me away. It was a really brilliantly drawn, brilliantly written, just fresh, original, just crazy. I mean, he's up in the Arctic or, whatever you would call it, during his time period. And he's stranded because this crazed whale is won't let him leave this island. And he has to fight this thing. And it's the most insane thing I've ever read in a Conan comic. And it's just wonderful. So you'll get, just really good surprises, when you start, just randomly picking up Savage Sword issues or just random issues of Conan the Barbarian. And, the great thing is they are self-contained. And I know old comics were self-contained stories. They were single issue, or they would only be 2 or 3 parts or whatever. But the thing that sets Conan apart from, say, a normal superhero comic is that, you know, in the superhero comic, I know the world they inhabit. You know, I live in that world, and I know, you know, and I typically will know their villains, and I'll know, you know, their powers and all this stuff. And all that's great. You can get some great stories that way. But with Conan, it's just, you know, you're going to a completely different world where anything is possible, and you never know what, you know, ancient ruins he'll stumble upon, and what type of monster or wizard or you know, what type of place he'll explore. And it's just, you just are taken on this quest. You're taken on this journey every single issue. And that's why I really love Conan. And sometimes, again, you know, once you get into non-Thomas stuff, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's but it's definitely worth trying out. And I highly recommend, you know, probably the Dark Horse trade paperbacks are the easiest way to start. You know, just start with volume 1. They used to be on Comixology, but with the acquisition of the rights, however you would like to phrase it, Marvel has the rights to print Conan now. And so all the Dark Horse trades have been removed from Comixology. But Marvel is going to be doing their own trades, so hopefully I'll get back on Comixology in some way soon, because that was a really tremendous resource. You had like literally every Conan comic ever published, along with Cole and Solomon Kane and all this stuff. So again, my recommendations are basically give Conan a chance, especially the first 115 issues of Conan the Barbarian by Roy Thomas. I'll probably do a video on other recommendations outside of that run. I have stumbled upon some really great adaptions and original comics based on the Howard properties over the years, and so probably do a video on those recommendations as well at some point. All right, like and subscribe for more videos, and until next time, I'll see you.